So I've moved forward a little bit more here on the starboard side. I'm about 8 feet from the bow. And I'm looking here at this joint right in here at the scarf. It's a hook scarf, and it's where the forefoot is, this being the forefoot timber, is spliced on to the wooden keel.
This is the hook scarf right here. The actual hook is up inside the hole behind the planking, and the hook is what keeps this timber hooked around to stop the two from migrating apart in that respect.
Looks to be in pretty good shape. The keel, again, looks to be in really good condition. Don't have no checking sounding on the inside. Now, the only problem with that is that if the boat was taken into warmer waters without that paint I was talking about, worms would get up in those checks and cause a problem. And I would cap the bottom of this either with a worm shoe or some copper sheathing or some kind of sheathing or fiberglass over the hull, the keel, to keep the worms from getting in and making it worse than it is. The boat's got a nice white oak stem in it. Seems to be in real solid condition. This is what's called a cutwater. It's just a piece of metal that's placed on top of it to protect it from banging into things in the water or the dock or something like that. These little slots tend to deteriorate pretty fast, so what happens is it would come loose and fall off eventually. So I'm gonna unfasten it, and that way I can still get to the heads of the screws and take them out, clean it up, and refasten it. This is a very wide and broad garboard plank. It's about 12 inches. It's pretty big. And it's oak. Like the rest of the boat, what was here was oak. This is oak. And the reason it wasn't made out of fur or anything is because it's got a radical twist in it. And you wouldn't be able to get that out of a piece of fur. Fur would just splinter and blow up. And with this being a built down keel from the stern post, it's got what they call a tuck right here. And tuck is this area where it's very tight inside curve. And these two planks up here are also oak. And this is oak, and this is oak, and it's in the tuck, and it's oak. So the reason those are oak is the same reason that this is oak, is because these are radically twisted more than any other plank on the boat, so they had no choice. If it were a mahogany plank boat, you might be able to get away with it, but if you planked it with fur, you wouldn't use fur down here. Now, I'd also like to remove a couple of screws here and maybe pop a couple plugs out. And I'm going to take a look, see what kind of condition the fastenings are in. in most situations, when there's problems with the fastenings, it'd be on the back side of the plank where the water is able to get at it and cause an electrolysis effect and make it real serious. And damage normally be back here where my thumb is, but the damage is more towards the head on these. And exactly why that is, I would tell you that the plugs weren't in awfully tight and they leaked. But you never know how many times a fastening's been removed. And you can sometimes find screws that have never been taken out and be in amazing condition. So I'm just going to go and put these back in. Now, when I go to tighten these back into the keel, it's going to tell me a couple things by the sound and by the resistance of the wood. And by the sound, it's going to tell me how well together that the wood still is, what condition it's in. The camera might not pick it up. And how tight it is going in, because if it goes in too easily, it's not going to be very tight. But if it starts giving me resistance, then it's still good. Automatically have a good bit of resistance here. And it's going in, well, it come out right there. My bit brace did. But it's giving me quite a lot of resistance, which is a good thing. That one went right there. And just start that with my fingers. Same thing with number 2. Started putting it in with my fingers, started tightening it with my fingers, so it got finger tight first. And then I just started putting it in there, and it has a good bit of resistance. It still does. I'm going to tighten that one right there while I'm at it. So let's just put this one back where oh, nope, that one wasn't right there. That one was right there. What am I doing? Automatically, this one has quite a bit. I can't even really get it to go with my fingers here. So we're just on. Yeah, this one's going in and it's got some resistance, and my bit brace come out. A lot of you younger folks probably never seen one of these, but it's kind of like a mini hand auger. But what it really is, it's a there's auger bits to put on this, but this is a shipwright's screwdriver kind of deal, and this is, y'all don't see this used quite a lot, along with quite other many shipwright tools, caulking hammers and caulking irons, reefing hooks, reefing rollers, all that fun stuff. And I know that this hasn't been quite the video that you're all used to. It's a little bit shorter, I'm sure. But part 4, the reason I'm doing a short video is because part 4 is going to involve taking the rudder off. I'll go ahead and take y'all back there in a minute. But it's going to involve taking the rudder off and pulling the rod out, the piping out for the rudder, so that I can inspect the rudder, the stuffing box, and where the tiller's at and all that. So just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm going to be doing in part 4 is here there are nuts and bolts that go through here. I'm going to have to take this bolt off because this bolt runs in from the back side, and I'll show y'all that. And it goes through this piece of pipe here. And the stuffing box is in here, and I want to inspect these stuffing box and make sure worms never got in there or anything. And this rudder will not be going on. She's going to have a metal rudder, most likely brass or some sort of bronze or steel, something along the lines. I hadn't made my mind up yet. And you can see what I was talking about here. This bung, and this bung are all covering the bolt heads that run through here horizontal. So I'm going to be taking that out in the next video. I'm going to have to dig these out. I'm going to try not to destroy the rudder. I'm going to try not to, because I actually have something I want to do with this, and I'll get to that in a later video because this is going to be something special. And I'm going to show y'all this real quick. When I get to it, y'all will see me pull the shaft, the propeller shaft, the screw shaft, out of the boat, and her propeller still turns, as you can see. Still turns. Parts for a screw here on the shaft are made by the Spurs company. So that's really nice to see that it has a reputable piece of equipment on there. Of course, it's got all reputable pieces of equipment, but seeing Spurs on there really makes me happy. So this here is the tiller, and here's that, well, I called it a pot, but it's actually a rod. It's one solid piece of a rod. And down there, where that rectangular plate is, underneath that is a round hole, and that's called the stuffing box, and that's where that rod runs through. So I'll be interested to see what kind of condition it's in, whether worms have ever got to it or not. It might have to be, if it's never had a piece of copper or brass piping to go along the edge so that this piece will slip into. Worms could have got up in there. If it did, that's something I will address, and I'll explain it as I address it on how I will fix that. So I didn't initially think that I would have 4 parts for this inspection or survey or whatever you want to call it. But as I went through it, I found more and more things that I want to talk about. So there may even be a part 5, but that's what y'all are here for, is to watch this journey and learn everything about this that you can and have fun doing so. That's my main thing, guys. I want y'all to have fun with these. I want y'all to enjoy my videos. So that will conclude this week's video. Be on the lookout for part 4. Unplanned part 4. I might call that the name of the video title. Unplanned part 4 of the Betselma's inspection. But as always, guys, I hope that y'all come back and y'all stick around to watch me do this. I really hope y'all will. And as always, it's been a pleasure. Y'all come back and see me.